You've watered them. You've talked to them. Some of you have named them, and I respect that completely. But here's the thing, nobody at the garden center will ever tell you some of the most beloved houseplants in the world are either chemically dangerous, historically cursed, or just deeply personally offensive to your nose. Today, we're going through 10 plants that should never have made it past your front door. We're talking toxins, ancient folklore, insect infestations, and at least one plant that smells like a crime scene. I've spent years studying plant history, folk botany, and the science behind what these green companions actually do inside your home. Stay with me. By plant number 6, you'll be looking at your living room very differently. Let's begin. Plant number 1, Pothos. Let's start with the most popular beginner plant on earth, Pothos. The one in every office, every apartment, every dentist waiting room that's trying a little too hard to feel welcoming. It's gorgeous, nearly indestructible, grows in low light, dry air, and apparently pure neglect. It's the golden retriever of houseplants, easy, lovable, everywhere. Here's what nobody mentions at checkout. Pothos contains calcium oxalate crystals, tiny needle-shaped structures that, if chewed or swallowed, cause intense burning, severe swelling, and in cats, kidney failure. Not an upset stomach, kidney failure. The plant that everybody recommends for beginners, potentially fatal to your cat. It's beautiful, it's easy, and it is absolutely not your pet's friend. If you have fur babies in the house, Pothos, and you need to have a very mature conversation about boundaries. Plant number 2, Peace Lily. Speaking of calcium oxalate, meet its cousin, the Peace Lily. Elegant white flowers, marketed endlessly as the ultimate air-purifying plant. And to be fair, NASA did include it in their clean air study. So it does filter certain toxins, good for the air, noted, also toxic to cats and dogs, also causes burning and swelling if ingested, also irritates skin and eyes if you handle it and then touch your face. It's giving very much beautiful but complicated, which for a plant called a peace lily is a little on the nose. The irony of the peace plant creating conflict in your household is something worth sitting with. But those two are just misunderstood. This next one had a criminal career long before it arrived on your windowsill. Plant number 3, Dieffenbachia. This one earned its nickname the hard way. Dieffenbachia is also known as dumb cane, and not because it failed any intelligence tests. If you chew on the stem, and we are firmly in the non-judgmental zone here, the calcium oxalate crystals cause such severe swelling of the mouth and throat that speech becomes temporarily impossible. In the 18th and 19th century Caribbean, this plant was used as a form of punishment against enslaved people. It was forced into their mouths to prevent them from speaking, a houseplant with a colonial criminal record. It sits on people's shelves looking absolutely unbothered, trailing its big glossy leaves with absolutely zero remorse. The audacity is almost admirable. Keep it out of reach of children, pets, and anyone who might be tempted to taste-test houseplants. You know who you are. Those 3 all share the same toxic chemistry. This next one takes a different approach. It turns your home into a wildlife sanctuary. Uninvited wildlife. Plant number 4, English ivy. Ah, English ivy. Gorgeous on a shelf. Gorgeous trailing down a bookcase. Practically mandatory in photos tagged cozy reading corner. English ivy is also a 5-star resort for spider mites, whiteflies, and scale insects. The dense, overlapping leaves create the perfect microenvironment for pests to live, breed, and expand their operations completely undetected until suddenly your entire plant collection has guests. And here's the sneaky part. The infestation is usually well established by the time you notice it. You're not decorating your home. You're operating a pest bed and breakfast. They don't even leave a review. They just bring relatives. Plant number 5. Indoor cactus. Now, this one comes with a disclaimer. We are entering the territory of ancient wisdom, cultural belief, and what happens when millions of people across completely separate civilizations arrive at the same conclusion. In feng shui, the Chinese philosophical system of spatial arrangement that's been refined over 2,000 years, cacti kept indoors are considered generators of sharp, aggressive energy. The spines point outward, and that outward-pointing energy is believed to create friction, conflict, and blocked opportunity within the home. Now, before anyone rolls their eyes, modern environmental psychology research actually supports part of this. Studies confirm that spaces filled with sharp, angular shapes produce measurably higher stress responses in people compared to spaces with soft, rounded forms. Your brain genuinely reads pointed things as potential threats. So the cactus on your desk might not be stabbing you physically, but your nervous system is keeping a close eye on it. Maybe keep it on the patio, where the energy can be as sharp as it wants. That was about energy. This next one is about ambition, or more specifically, what happens when a plant quietly talks yours out of showing up. Plant number 6, bonsai. Here we are, the one that sounds the most ridiculous until you think about it for 30 seconds. The bonsai tree, serene, meditative, present in every spa, every wellness studio, every office that wants to signal that it's thoughtful. In Japanese tradition, the culture that developed and perfected bonsai over centuries, keeping a miniaturized, intentionally stunted living thing inside your home is associated with stunted growth in your own life, career, relationships, finances. The logic being, the living energy of the space mirrors the energy of the plant. The Japanese have a concept: a tree that cannot grow grows inward. I'm not telling you to throw out your bonsai. I'm simply noting that you are keeping a plant whose entire existence is defined by controlled, deliberate limitation and calling it a decoration. Your bonsai is not thriving, it is surviving with extraordinary grace, and it may be taking notes. Before we continue, because we still have 4 plants to cover and one of them is going to genuinely surprise you, if you want a complete reference guide to the plants that actually should be in your home, including the ones with real documented benefits and zero drama, I've put together a free list. It's linked in the description. No cost, no catch. Alright, back to the plants that didn't earn their invitation. Plant number 7, basil indoors. This one is painful to say, because basil smells extraordinary and makes everything in the kitchen feel like a lifestyle upgrade. Basil kept indoors in a pot on your windowsill is one of the most reliable ways to introduce fungus gnats to your home. The warm, consistently moist soil that basil needs is precisely the environment fungus gnats seek out for laying eggs, and once they hatch, they don't stay in the basil. They migrate to every other potted plant in your home, spreading through the soil of anything damp and nearby, one herb, entire ecosystem. The good news: basil is spectacular outdoors, thrives in a garden bed, loves the sun, does not invite insects into your living room when it's outside where it belongs. Your pasta still gets the fresh basil. The gnats do not get an indoor address. Everybody wins, except the gnats. Plant number 8, Stapelia, starfish cactus. This one made a choice, and that choice will haunt you. The Stapelia, also called the starfish cactus or carrion flower, produces one of the most visually striking blooms in the plant world. Star-shaped, deeply textured, sometimes burgundy, sometimes yellow, occasionally patterned like something from another planet entirely. It looks like it belongs in a museum. It smells like it belongs at a crime scene. The Stapelia evolved to attract flies for pollination, and to attract flies you need to simulate the scent of rotting meat, which it does, enthusiastically, effectively, and without any apparent guilt. People buy it for the flower. They smell it for the first time and have immediate regrets. A beautiful plant with a terrible secret. Like finding out your most charming acquaintance is a method actor who stays in character at dinner parties. Plant number 9, Oleander. We're going to take a brief but important turn into the serious. Oleander is one of the most toxic plants on the planet. All of it, every part, leaves, stems, flowers, the water it sits in if you cut stems for a vase. Even the smoke from burning it is toxic. It causes severe cardiac disruption. It has been responsible for poisoning throughout history, including cases where people used the stems as cooking skewers, not a metaphor, actual cooking skewers. And yet, it is widely sold, widely planted, and looks absolutely beautiful doing it. Hot pink flowers, deep green foliage, elegant structure, it has genuinely no idea it's dangerous. If you have young grandchildren visiting your home or curious pets, Oleander has no place indoors. Arguably outdoors needs careful consideration too. This is the one plant on this list where the warning is not subtle, not folkloric, and not funny. It is simply, be careful. And now, for our final plant. One that most people only think about once a year, under very specific social circumstances. Plant number 10, mistletoe. We'll end on one with a wink. Mistletoe, the holiday plant, the romantic tradition, the one people hang in doorways every December with entirely good intentions. Here's what mistletoe actually is. A parasitic plant. It attaches itself to the branches of trees, drives roots into the host's bark, and extracts water and nutrients directly from the tree it's living on. It is, botanically speaking, a freeloader with excellent public relations, and while it's become a symbol of romance and holiday cheer, the berries are toxic, particularly to children and pets. White, waxy, deceptively harmless-looking berries that cause nausea, low blood pressure, and cardiac disturbances. A parasite dressed up as a decoration. There is something almost poetic about the fact that a toxic parasitic plant became one of the most beloved holiday symbols in Western culture. The marketing team behind mistletoe deserves some kind of award. Keep it out of reach of children and pets. Admire it from a distance. And maybe think twice before hanging it directly above Grandma's favorite chair. So, 10 plants. 10 very good reasons to take a slow walk around your home and look at your green companions with fresh eyes. We covered the calcium oxalate trio, Pothos, Peace Lily, and Dieffenbachia, beautiful, popular, and quietly dangerous to pets and small children. English ivy, the pest hotel with excellent aesthetic. The indoor cactus, sharp in every possible sense. Bonsai, the stunted overachiever that may be projecting. Basil, beloved herb, indoor gnat landlord. Stapelia, visually stunning. Aromatically criminal. Oleander, the one where the warning is completely serious. And mistletoe, a parasite that somehow became romantic. We respect the hustle. You came here expecting a list of plants to avoid. What you got was 1,000 years of folklore, a little bit of botany, one plant that smells like Monday morning, and proof that the most innocent-looking things in your home sometimes have the most interesting histories. Your plants are waiting, some of them perhaps with more patience than you realized. If this opened your eyes, there's a video right here about the plants that genuinely earn their spot. The ones that clean your air, calm your nervous system, and never once invite anyone uninvited. See you there.